You know, I've never really had window coverings for these rear windows. I've been living in this van like since February when I first got it, and never really felt the need to make them. You know, they're kind of nice because they are limo tinted. I did get them limo tinted, so you can't really see in, particularly during the day. And I actually had that theory put to the ultimate test a couple of days ago. I was sitting in Golden Gate Park, just kind of minding my own business, working on my computer, doing my thing like I normally do in here during the day. And a car pulls up behind me. It was like a nice Mercedes. It still had the like the temporary tags on it, so they must have just bought it or something like that. And someone gets out of the passenger seat, and I kid you guys not, the guy walks straight up to the van, and he looks up to the van, like full-on creeper style, like hands against the glass, like actually touching the glass, and he looks in. And I'm sitting right here working on my computer, and I'm like, what is this guy doing? My adrenaline's starting to go here. I'm like, what's about to happen here? What's this guy trying to do? And he walks away, and then he starts kind of looking around, and he's on his phone, right? He's like pretending to be on his phone though. He's not talking, like he's not making any noise. He's just holding his phone up to his ear like this, and he's looking around, and he's kind of like scoping things out. And it's a pretty busy section of the park. Like there are tourists and stuff and all kind of people that go there. It's a beautiful park to hang out for the day, and they go on walks and everything. And he's like almost looking for a lull, looking for a spot where there's not anyone coming by. And he walks up to the front of the van, and he looks in the front into the cockpit area, but my curtains are closed, so he can't actually see me, and I can kind of see him, like I'm watching him, and I can kind of see through the gaps, but he can't see me. He walks back, he looks up again to the van, he puts his hands up straight on the glass again. I'm like, what is this guy doing? Like, he's like creeping in my van and stuff, and he's pretending to talk on his phone, and he's looking around, looking super freaking sketchy. And then on the third time, you know, in hindsight, I kind of wish that I had just like filmed it so I could get his reaction, because what happens next is pretty funny. He puts his face up against the glass, hands touching the glass a third time, and then I just take my fist and I smash on the glass right in front of him. The guy's face was hilarious, like absolutely scared the crap out of him. He jumps out of his shoes. The kid literally ran back to the car like full sprint, and I'm not even kidding you guys, they burnt rubber and sped off into the distance. So I don't really think they were up to any good. Whatever it was that they were doing was probably not a nice thing. I don't know if they were about to maybe break into the van, or if they were maybe thinking about trying to steal it or steal something off the roof, trying to get my solar panel or something like that. I have no idea what those guys were trying to do, but it was definitely a crazy experience. Like I said, my adrenaline was pumping a little bit. It's kind of pumping as I'm telling the story right now, like just thinking about what could have happened. And I'm just really grateful that I was sitting in the van when it happened, and that I hadn't gone off on a walk or something like that, because who knows what they would have tried to do to my van if I hadn't been in here. But it kind of proves my point, though, about the window coverings and not really needing them during the day, because the guy looked in like 3 times, and I'm staring directly at him, and he can't see me. So it's kind of, I guess it's a good thing that you can't see in when the, you know, during the day and stuff like that. At nighttime, if I put these lights on here, you can see in a little bit. It's a little bit easier to see what's going on inside the van. You can kind of see the light reflecting off me if I'm in here, but during the day, I haven't really needed it. That being said, though, we're getting to the point where it's kind of winter time. You know, things are going to start to get a lot colder, so I kind of want to get something to put up here at night to kind of try to keep the heat in. You know, if I'm driving around, say, having the heat blast like I normally do on a cold night, it'd be a little bit easier to keep that heat in if these guys are covered up. So I am going to try to make them. Shannon and I actually bought some fabric yesterday and materials, and her mom has a sewing machine that we're going to try to use. I don't really know how to sew at all, so I'm really hoping that she's a little bit better at it than I am. I think that she is, so it's going to definitely be a little bit of a project, but we're going to try to do a good job and put magnets and stuff like that and make a nice, I guess just a nice curtain to have, and almost something that kind of folds up. We're going to make it so that it like folds to a small size, and then it can kind of open up, and then I can store it, put it aside, and then put it up here at night or whenever I feel like I need to use them. And right now what I got to do is make a template. I've got some cardboard in the front seat, so I'm going to make a little bit of a template to go around, and then at some point, probably not in this video, but at some point in the next couple of videos, we're going to get to making those guys and doing a few other things as well to the interior of the van. there's even more space up there than I originally thought. I'll definitely be able to fit everything. My plan is basically just to take all the clothes that I have 2 wooden crates. I know I showed them off in one of the recent videos that I did, but got 2 wooden crates with clothes in them right now. One is under my bed. I basically want to take this area and basically just relocate all of my clothes up here and stuff things up here, take my bedding and stick it up there. Pretty much everything that's kind of in the way, use this space to store it, and then I can kind of free up my storage space under the bed, and then I'll be able to move on with my whole kitchen remodel, which I'm going to talk about a little bit later in this video. It worked pretty well, aside from accidentally pulling the curtain rod out. I'm gonna probably have to replace that at some point. I kind of messed up the tension rod. I put it back in, it looks okay right now, but I don't trust it. I think it's gonna fall over again. I just put way too much weight on it and accidentally just kind of ripped it out of place. But this is gonna be okay. All of my clothes were able to fit there. I actually still have a little bit more space that I could use up there as well. And I was originally thinking I was gonna need to use like this storage net here to kind of either hook it up some way so that things didn't fall out, but I think what I can do instead is just stuff my pillows up there during the day, and then when I'm driving around, things aren't going to be able to get out. I mean, these things are not going to really move. They might. We'll see what happens. You know, I got to test it out, obviously, but it'd be a little bit easier just to be able to stuff those up there during the day. That way they're out of the way, and they're also acting as a barrier to prevent my clothes from flying out while I'm driving around. Definitely one of my favorite spots in the city. So the reason that I decided to put my clothes up here was obviously to free up space underneath the bed, and then also to free up space behind like the rear part of the counter area. The whole reason that I built that space up there originally was for my guitar, but then I ended up getting that foldable travel guitar, and now it fits nicely under the bed. My whole plan in here, I know I've mentioned this a couple of different times in a couple of previous videos, is to kind of remodel the entire kitchen area. And while the kitchen area works pretty well right now, it's definitely a good size. I can cook on it pretty easily. I know that I can do a little bit more with it, and I just kind of want to make some upgrades and make some changes in here to make it a little bit more comfortable to live in full time, especially considering that Shannon may be joining me for a couple of trips here and there in this van. I just want to make it as comfortable as possible. So some of the things that I have planned, I want to make the counter space a little bit smaller. That way I can extend the bed and make it a little bit bigger. Right now I'm still using that old twin mattress that I had with the Murphy bed set up. Mattresses are pretty expensive, and it hasn't just really been a priority for me. Like, the mattress is still comfortable. It's a little messed up because I did cut it in half, and you know, kind of like sags a little bit in the middle. It's not really perfect, and it was already pretty cheap as it is. So I got to replace that eventually. But first, I want to make the bed wider and get the exact dimensions of that bed before I go and order a custom foam mattress or anything like that. So that's one thing. Another thing I want to do is install a drop-in stovetop, a 2-burner stove, to be included as part of the counter space, just automatically built in. I want to get some propane in here so that I can do that. You know, I'm a little bit worried moving into the winter. The days are going to get shorter, especially in San Francisco, where I'm more than likely going to kind of be based out of here throughout the winter. Like, the sun doesn't really come out in San Francisco in the winter. Like, it rains a lot. I feel like it's not going to be as nice, you know, as it was in the summertime. So the days are also shorter. Like I said, I'm a little worried that I'm not going to have enough solar to be able to cook regularly with the Instant Pot. I miss having access to a propane stove, so I'm probably going to install that. I also want to use that propane for a portable shower as well. I want to be able to get a little hot water heater. They're so cheap. They're really, really easy to install. You know, they make these like all-in-one propane showers that are tankless water heaters, and they work really, really well, I think. So I want to try to find one of those and get one of those installed in here. I think it would be really nice to have access to a hot shower when we're out traveling, like we were out in the middle of Nevada a few weeks ago, and also like after surfing. You know, in the wintertime here, it gets really, really cold, and the water is going to be in the 40s. It's going to be freezing, and I want to be able to get out of the water and rinse off with some hot water. I think that would be really cool, and there's no reason why I can't do that. Right now, I don't have any fresh water in here at all. I think it would be kind of cool just to have a 5 or a 7 gallon fresh water tank in here at all times. That way way I can just pour some water if I want to like drink some water and stuff. Like right now I don't really do that. I have to go buy bottled water every single time I want to get some water, or take an old bottle of water and fill it up with tap water, but it's just not very much, you know. So that's another thing that I'm thinking about. Just quite a few different things. I want to maximize the storage space. I want to make this area bigger. I also am thinking about getting a new fridge at some point as well. I want to upgrade, get something a little bit bigger, ideally with a little freezer compartment. I would really like the ability to have a tiny little freezer compartment in the upper left-hand corner or whatever it is. I don't know, just a lot of stuff like that I'm thinking about. I have some plans that I've been trying to draw up and sketch up, and I've drawn some stuff out by hand as well. I think the first step is just building the shell of the new counter space and the new, you know, the new storage space, and then kind of just figuring out where everything goes. And it's kind of expensive to buy all these materials, so I'm gonna have to do it in segments. I can't really afford to just spend, you know, $500-600 bucks right now and just buy everything. So I'm gonna have to take my time, you know, add things as I can afford them, and just kind of adapt and modify the entire kitchen area to kind of fit those things as my, you know, as I guess I prioritize what I'm gonna get first and what I'm gonna get second and third until it's completed. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll talk to y'all in the next video.